Time is the one thing every human gets in equal dosage, yet it's the most unevenly used resource on the planet. Some people squeeze every drop out of their day and build something legendary, while others watch life slip through their fingers without even realizing it's happening. Most of us act like we've got unlimited years, scrolling, chilling, wasting hours like they're pocket change. But when you zoom out, you start to understand that time is the only currency that never reloads once it's spent. The clock isn't pausing for your excuses, your doubts, or your comfort zone. It keeps moving forward, quietly, relentlessly. And the truth is brutal but empowering. The life you live right now is the direct result of how you've spent your time so far. Change how you use your hours, and you rewrite your entire future. This is your wake-up call to stop letting days fade away and start treating your time like the rare, priceless asset it actually is. The world won't slow down for you, so it's on you to speed up your purpose. Time is the real flex. Every single person on this planet gets the same 24 hours, no premium version, no paid upgrade, no cheat code. But the difference between people who win and people who stay stuck is how they use those hours. Time is literally the only currency that never refills once it's gone. You can lose money and earn it back, you can lose friends and make new ones, but once a day passes, it's gone forever. That's why treating time casually is basically the same as throwing your own progress in the trash. Most of us act like we have unlimited years ahead, but the clock is always ticking, no matter how young we think we are. The harsh truth is that people waste their time not because they're lazy, but because they don't realize how expensive time actually is. Hours disappear scrolling reels, binge-watching shows, sitting around thinking life will change someday. Meanwhile, the world keeps moving, and opportunities keep slipping by quietly. The people who grow, build, and level up are the ones who understand that every minute has power. When you start seeing time as something valuable, you stop waiting for motivation, and you start acting with intention. You realize that life isn't about having time, it's about making time for what matters. Choose where your hours go. Every day, time slips into 3 buckets: things that push you forward, things that keep you stuck, and things that drag you backward. Most people unknowingly invest the majority of their life into the second and third bucket. They wake up, scroll their phone, watch random content, gossip, complain, and drift through the day without any direction. It feels harmless in the moment, but when you zoom out over a year, that's thousands of hours gone with nothing to show for it. Time wasting becomes a habit so silently that by the time someone realizes it, they're already far behind the version of themselves they could have become. The smartest move anyone can make is to consciously choose where their time goes. Treat every hour like a seed, plant it into something that grows. Learn a skill, build something, read, create, hustle, or even just take care of your mental and physical health. Once you get intentional with your schedule, you notice that your energy shifts, your focus sharpens, and your progress becomes visible. The crazy part? You don't need 12-hour grind days. Just consistent, smart allocation is enough. When you choose your priorities, you automatically distance yourself from distractions, and that's how your life starts leveling up quietly before anyone notices. Distraction is the silent thief. Distraction doesn't enter your life like a villain with a warning sign. It sneaks in quietly, sits beside you, and pretends to be your best friend. A quick scroll, one notification, a meme, a YouTube short, and before you know it, the sun has shifted, and you've lost another hour. The scary part is that distractions don't feel dangerous while they're happening. They feel fun, harmless, stress-relieving. That's the trick. The real damage becomes visible only when days turn into months, and you suddenly wonder why nothing meaningful has changed in your life. Every app, every website, every platform is engineered to steal your focus. They're not giving you entertainment for free, they're taking your attention in return. And attention is time. Companies spend millions studying human psychology to figure out exactly what keeps you scrolling one more minute, watching one more clip, opening their app one more time. The longer you stay hooked, the more time slips away unnoticed. Most people think they are choosing to waste time, but in reality, time is getting stolen from them without their awareness. The most dangerous thing about distraction is how it trains your brain. When you bounce between reels, notifications, and random content all day, your mind loses its ability to focus deeply. That's why reading a book feels boring, studying feels tiring, and building something long-term feels impossible. It's not because you're dumb or lazy, it's because your attention span has been shredded into tiny pieces. Modern life makes distraction feel normal, but that normal is slowly killing ambition, discipline, and long-term success. When you finally step back and look at the pattern, it becomes obvious. Distractions don't just waste your hours. They silently disconnect you from the future you could have created. Every minute you give to something meaningless is a minute stolen from something that could change your life. Once you realize your attention is the most valuable asset you have, you start guarding it like treasure. Because the truth is simple, whoever controls your attention controls your life. And the moment you take that control back, everything else starts shifting in your favor. Your time reflects your priorities. If someone wants to know what truly matters to you, they don't need to read your goals or hear your speeches. They just need to observe how you spend your time. Your time choices expose your priorities louder than any words ever could. You can say you want to build a business, master a skill, get fit, learn a language, or become financially free. But if your daily hours are invested into scrolling, chilling, or waiting for the right moment, your real priority is comfort, not growth. Time is brutally honest like that. It tells the truth even when we lie to ourselves. It's crazy how many people fantasize about huge dreams but invest their actual hours into things that don't move them even 1 inch closer to those dreams. They say, "I don't have time," but they magically have time for endless entertainment, gossip, video games, and binge sessions that last half the night. The truth is nobody lacks time, they lack clarity, discipline, and direction. When life feels overwhelming or confusing, wasting time becomes an easy escape. But escapes don't build futures, they delay them until it's too late to catch up. When you begin aligning your actions with your goals, even small changes create huge shifts. 1 hour of learning daily compounds faster than you expect. 30 minutes of exercise every day builds a stronger body than random bursts once a month. A side hustle you spend weekends on becomes a career in a few years. The magic lies in consistent investment, using time as fuel, not filler. People overestimate how much they can achieve in a week, but underestimate how much they can transform in a year with steady effort. At some point, you realize time management isn't just about productivity, it's about identity. Who you spend time with shapes your mindset. What you focus on shapes your knowledge. What you practice shapes your future. Every hour spent is a vote for the person you're becoming. So the real question becomes, are you spending time becoming the person you want to be, or are you slowly drifting into someone you never planned to become? The clock keeps moving either way, but the direction depends entirely on you. The compounding power of small habits. Everyone wants massive results, but very few people respect the tiny actions that create those results over time. We live in a world addicted to instant gratification, fast food, fast entertainment, fast dopamine. But the real growth that changes your life happens slowly, quietly, and consistently. 1 hour of learning today doesn't make you a master, and a single gym session won't shred your body. But when those actions stack day after day, week after week, the compounding effect becomes unstoppable. Time rewards patience more than intensity. Most people stay stuck because they underestimate small steps. They think if they can't make a gigantic move today, then doing a tiny bit is pointless. But that mentality kills progress. Reading 5 pages may seem like nothing, but do it every day and you finish 20 books in a year. Practicing a skill for 30 minutes per day makes you better than 90% of people who only dream about improvement. You don't need to flip your life upside down, you need to show up daily, even when you don't feel like it. There is a brutal truth people ignore. Consistency beats talent every single time. A smart person who doesn't act gets overtaken by an average person who shows up daily. Time becomes your ally when you combine it with repetition. When you build habits that align with your goals and you repeat them over months, not weeks, your life transforms almost automatically. You don't rely on motivation anymore, discipline takes over, and progress becomes your default setting. The craziest part is that no one sees the quiet work you put in at the beginning. For a long time, it feels like nothing is changing, and that's where most people quit. But the compounding curve hits suddenly, and people around you start calling you lucky, unaware that time and consistency were stacking behind the scenes all along. Small habits look weak in the moment, but give them time and they turn into powerhouses that reshape your future. When you start respecting the compound effect, you stop chasing shortcuts and start building results that actually last. Time used on yourself is never wasted. One of the biggest mindset shifts in life is realizing that investing time in yourself is the most productive thing you can ever do. Learning a skill, reading, training your mind, working out, or even sitting alone to think, all of it counts. Society often pushes us to stay busy doing things that look productive on the outside, even if they're empty on the inside. But your life changes the moment you stop chasing the approval of the world and start growing yourself like your own personal project. You are the only asset you carry everywhere, so the smarter you become, the stronger your future gets. A lot of people hesitate to invest time in self-growth because the results aren't immediate. You don't get applause for reading a book today. You don't go viral because you practiced coding, editing, writing, or speaking for an hour. You don't wake up tomorrow with a new life just because you decided to spend your time wisely yesterday. And that's why most people choose things with instant gratification instead: scrolling, gossiping, partying, gaming. Those activities give you quick pleasure, but leave you empty afterward. Self-growth feels slow, but the payoff is permanent. The wild thing is, once you start building yourself, life starts responding differently. Opportunities appear that were invisible before. You understand conversations at a deeper level. You become confident, because confidence is not magic, it's the result of preparation. When you know you spent your hours improving, you move with a different energy. You stop feeling like an imposter and start feeling like someone who belongs in the room. That shift alone separates winners from wishers. And most importantly, spending time on yourself protects you from being controlled by the world. When you grow stronger mentally, financially, emotionally, and skill-wise, you become independent. You stop depending on luck, on people, or on circumstances. You start creating your own opportunities instead of waiting for a miracle. Time used on self-development never disappears. It compounds into a version of you that ordinary people cannot compete with. The smartest decision anyone can make is to become obsessed with their own evolution. Because the more you grow, the better your life becomes, and the more valuable your time feels. Time wasted on people can be your biggest loss. Not everyone you hang with deserves your hours, your attention, or your energy. Sometimes the biggest drain on your time isn't your phone or entertainment, it's the people you allow into your life. Friends who do nothing except complain, gossip, drag you into drama, or distract you from your goals silently slow you down. You don't notice it at first because chilling with them feels fun, easy, and familiar. But look deeper and you'll see how much time disappears into conversations that lead nowhere, negativity that kills motivation, and plans that never move your life forward. Your circle plays a massive role in where you end up. Spend time with losers and you start thinking like them. Hang with people who have no ambition, and slowly your standards drop without you realizing. On the flip side, surround yourself with hungry, curious, disciplined people, and their energy becomes contagious. You absorb their mindset, learn from their attitude, and start lifting your own game automatically. Time becomes more valuable when you realize not every relationship deserves it. Learning to say no is a superpower. You don't owe everyone your presence, your availability, or your attention. Sometimes you outgrow people, and that's okay. Growth requires letting go of the anchors holding you back. Protect your time like your future depends on it, because in many ways, it actually does. If your environment doesn't challenge you, inspire you, or push you forward, it's not an environment, it's a cage dressed up as comfort. The real glow-up happens when you choose peace over chaos, progress over distraction, and aligned people over random company. When you start spending your hours with individuals who make you think, learn, hustle, and dream bigger, your life changes without any dramatic effort. Quality people don't take time from you, they multiply it. And the moment you understand that your circle is either your engine or your brake, you become brutally selective with who gets access to your time. That decision alone separates those who evolve from those who stay stuck. Break the loop of, "I'll start tomorrow." One of the most dangerous lies we tell ourselves is, "I'll start tomorrow." Tomorrow feels like this magical land where motivation is higher, life is easier, and everything finally makes sense. But when tomorrow arrives, nothing changes, because the habit of postponing is already wired into your brain. Procrastination is not laziness, it's comfort pretending to be logic. We delay action because staying still feels safe, while starting something requires energy, courage, and uncertainty. But every delay silently pushes your goals further away. Most people don't realize that postponing isn't a neutral choice, it comes with a hidden cost. Every "not today" is a day lost forever. Skills that could have been learned remain untouched. Progress that could have begun never starts. And slowly, regret begins to stack like invisible debt. At first it feels harmless, but one day you wake up and realize you're far behind where you could have been if you had simply started earlier. Your future self either thanks you or curses you, based on how many tomorrows you wasted. The truth is, there's never going to be a perfect moment. There's never enough time, never enough clarity, never enough confidence, at least not at the beginning. Action creates clarity, movement creates motivation, progress creates confidence. When you start, even without the perfect plan, your brain wakes up, momentum builds, and suddenly the thing that felt impossible becomes manageable. You don't need to sprint, you just need to take the first step today. Once you break the cycle of postponing, everything changes. You stop treating time like it's infinite and start respecting each day like an opportunity. Even if you move slowly, you are still miles ahead of the version of you who kept waiting. Nothing builds discipline faster than showing up when you don't feel ready. The moment you realize, now is the only real time you ever have, tomorrow loses its power over your life. And that's when you start winning, quietly at first, and then all at once. Time freedom is the real success. Most people chase money like it's the ultimate prize, but the truth hits different when you grow up. Time freedom matters way more than flexing your bank balance. What's the point of earning tons if you're too exhausted to enjoy it? What's the point of having luxury if you don't have the freedom to live life on your terms? Real success is when you control your time instead of letting your time control you. It's when you wake up and choose what you want to do, not what you're forced to do. Sadly, systems are built to trap people into trading time for comfort without realizing what they're losing. Schools teach us to be busy, companies reward long hours, society glorifies hustle without questioning whether that hustle leads to independence. People spend decades grinding only to retire when their energy is gone. By the time they finally earn free time, their body and spirit are too tired to use it. That's the world's biggest trap, sacrificing the best years of your life hoping to find happiness later. But the people who win in the long run understand time leverage. They don't just work harder, they work smarter. They learn skills that compound, build side hustles that grow, and invest in themselves so their future self works less while earning more. They create systems, business, content, investments, skills, that eventually bring returns even when they're not grinding 24/7. That's how freedom is built, not through luck but through deliberate use of time. The biggest flex isn't a mansion or a sports car, it's waking up on a random Tuesday and deciding how you want to spend your day. It's being mentally, financially, and emotionally free because you used your earlier years wisely instead of wasting them. When you treat time as your most valuable asset, your life begins moving toward choices, not obligations. And that's when success becomes real, not because you beat others, but because you finally own your time. Your time shapes your legacy. At the end of your life, you won't remember every moment you wasted. But you will remember the moments you invested, the time you spent building something meaningful, learning new skills, failing and trying again, creating memories, and shaping the kind of person you became. Time is more than hours on a clock, it is the raw material of your entire existence. Every achievement, every lesson, every transformation is constructed from the hours you choose to use wisely. There's something powerful about knowing that the life you want tomorrow depends on the hours you spend today. Your future isn't written by destiny, luck, or the universe. It's written by you, minute by minute. When you understand that every day is a chance to add a brick to the foundation of your dreams, you stop waiting and start building. Even the smallest efforts turn into massive outcomes when stacked over time. And that's the real unfair advantage, not genius or talent, but consistent use of time. If you keep wasting hours on things that don't matter, nothing changes. But if you take control, if you cut distractions, choose your circle wisely, invest in habits, and show up even when you don't feel like it, the entire trajectory of your life shifts. You create opportunities instead of waiting for them. You become the kind of person others look up to. And slowly, the things you once dreamed about become normal parts of your reality. That's the magic hidden inside disciplined time. The final truth is simple but brutally real. You don't need more time. You need to use the time you already have with purpose. Every day is a blank page in your story. Waste it, and it disappears forever. Use it wisely, and you build a life you're proud of. The clock is ticking whether you move or stand still, so make sure when it runs out, you can say with confidence, I spent my time right. Because in the end, time isn't just life's currency, it's life itself.